Live. There we go. Looks like we're live. Hello, hello.
Woo!
I'm live.
I'm live.
I'm
Hello.
live. I'm alive. All right. Hello, everyone. We are here for our monthly galactic updates. Andy has his hammer.
Yes, we're ready.
I have my kapar.
Kapar. There we go. So, so we're here with our tools, and we're going to talk about what's up in the galactic community of how we understand it, what we see, and since our last time we talked, and have some conversation, some awesome conversation. Hi, Christine. How are you? Good to see you.
Hi, Christine.
Hello.
First off, I want to share a couple of. Let's go around the room for those that don't know us that are watching in TV land. All right, I am your host of Ascension Gateway, Sharon Sananda Kumara, and I I live in the Great Northwest, Pacific Northwest, and I am a contactee, have been since I was a child, and so I've had lots of experiences and we just had a support group here locally. Andy was there, and Diane is local too, where it's hard to talk about these types of things when you have experiences, and it doesn't necessarily have to be extraterrestrial, that kind of thing, UFOs, UAPs, whatever you want to call it. It can also be paranormal. And like I said Sunday at the group, that I believe that they are connected in some way, interdimensional type of experiences, that type of thing. So this is a good way for us to have conversations and share our insights and our experiences. And also, I believe that we are moving very rapidly toward disclosure in some way. I also feel that the disclosure has been happening within, not through the government type of thing. And so that was the plan all along from Star Nations, Star Beings, is because we can't depend on our, government, so to speak, to give us the truth most of the time. Although I do believe that we're on the right path now, where we're going to have a lot of disclosure in lots of areas that have been hidden from us, and we're moving into the golden age. So it's really exciting. And other than a contactee, I'm also a psychic medium and hypnotherapist, and I work with people in all kinds of areas of healing. And I'm an author. Wrote my book recently, 10 years in the
making.
It's amazing. Thank you, Andy. Awakened Soul is the name of it, where I talk about my near-death experience and the aftermath, which was a wild ride. So that's why I am here. Diane, why don't you go next?
Okay. My name is Diane Quinn, and I I started out as a student of my mom's, actually. When I was a little kid, she kept telling me stuff, and I believed her, whatever she said. And it just resonated in my soul. I knew what she was talking about. And so then I just took a little bit further from what she taught me, and I started living in communes. She wasn't happy about that, but that's the way it was. So, and now I have progressed into other areas. And so here I am with Sharon. And my friend Andy.
Yes. And we're so glad you're here.
You're cosmic.
Yes.
Cosmic Andy.
Yes. So thank you, ladies. I'm excited to be on here again for those who haven't watched or don't know, my name's I'm going by Cosmic Andy. My name's Andy. I live in the Northwest, born in the Northwest, the upper left, as they call it. I am a lifelong experiencer of everything from UFO, contactee, abductions, all the way up to, seeing ghosts and paranormal activity, to kind of throughout my life remembering that I was involved, especially as a child, and to this day. There's things happening at multiple dimensional levels, and I think, Sharon, you said this maybe Sunday at the meeting, or somebody did. I think it was you. Yeah, I'm beginning to really understand more and more every day that the energy or the soul or the consciousness within my body here exists in many realms simultaneously, and there's many different forms of me, or that I'm connected to, be it an oversoul, or be it inner, multidimensional beings, quote unquote extraterrestrials, all the way up to angelic beings. And things of that nature. And so I love this platform, and I'm so grateful to Sharon and Diane, but Sharon for hosting and creating space for us to openly talk about this subject matter without being ridiculed. And so, I'm just excited to be here and get to have these conversations. And my hope and my goal, I say a little personal prayer and affirmation every time before we start here, is that I want my hope is that something I say, somebody else will hear, and it will help them either put together, connect the dots in their own experiences, or at the very least know that they're not alone, and that there is the universe has a plan, and that we're actually, regardless of how hard your life has been on Earth, you are blessed to be here at this time in human history. It's a very special time to be alive. And I hope that you get something from this that's going to lead you to a better life, and to fulfill your soul's mission and your life's purpose with joy in your heart. And so that's my goal.
Nice.
Did you practice that?
No.
I know that
was from his heart.
I know it came from your heart.
It came, yeah,
It
came
did.
from his heart.
It was nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Diane sent me some videos here that I wanted to share. They're just little shorts of some ships. And then I saw a drone, a video of a UAP, or a vertical lifting car. People were saying that it's like from the show Halo, or the video game Halo. And I loved that show. I haven't seen the new series though, or the new season yet, but I love that show. So these are kind of cool. These are cool. Now, it's so hard to discern whether they're real or not on the internet anymore, but
well, I first have to give you the background of them.
Oh, yes.
And then you'll know it's real. My next door neighbor sent me, actually the neighbor across the street sent me a YouTube video of an Air Force guy. And he was dancing in front of the airplane because he was guiding it. And then there was the pilot, and they were going off. I usually take things a little bit further, and I did. And so I started watching more and more. And that's how this just popped up. It just popped up on the Air Force channel, YouTube channel.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I don't doubt it that they're out there. So,
and then when I saw the first one, I went, wow, that's really cool. And I started dancing again. And all of a sudden, I see this other one. It was like, oh, wow. Okay. So I don't know how many they've got out there. These are just the ones that I saw.
So maybe they're sharing them slowly, trying to acclimate us to
because it was mixed in with what they do is it's to the sound of silence, and they have the ones that I was that I started watching were men, and then it kind of went on into women pilots, and they're all dancing, and they're dancing in front. The people who direct the airplanes before they take off, they were all dancing, and so then it's like mixed in with this stuff.
Okay, so this one's called
real
this one's-
interesting.
Okay, this one's called military jets intercept an unidentified flying object. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, so it looks like to me that where's stop sharing, that one of the planes was videotaping, if this is real, but it looks real. One of the planes was videotaping it, and you can hear the chatter. It might have been hard to hear, but you can hear the chatter. They're saying, explaining what they're seeing, which they're saying is looks like a metallic craft, and I think they even say UFO or something like that, or UAP. And yeah, we don't know what it is. Can't just, and so they tell them to break off, and then they break off, and that's why the camera goes with the planes, because he's probably broken off too. So.
Yeah.
Then he kind of turns that way. Yeah, but
wouldn't it be nice to know all the information, like, because that looks like real. We know that people can make up fake videos, and there's plenty of that out there. That looks authentic. I'm more like, was that the U.S. Air Force going along, and that's one of our own secret reverse engineered ones? Or like, nah, you guys are good, don't follow it. They don't want to tell them, but like, we already know exactly what that is. Or is it like, we don't want to start an international incident, or like, don't get too close. We're not trying to start a war here. Or was that like the whole one of the negative, ET groups? Was that like the Nazis? You know what I mean? That have their stuff. I don't know.
Or one of ours,
or one of ours that we've reverse engineered or were given.
Right. So here's another one that Diane sent. Okay. Hey, Stephanie. All right, screen share. Here it is.
Yo, what is this, bro? What is this? Yo, that's like what is that, bro?
Play it again.
What is this? Yo, that's like a... What is that, bro? Joe.
Two guys sitting out on an oil rig.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay, on an oil rig, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, we know that there's been so many UFOs seen, over the ocean. 70% of the planet's ocean. So we've seen so much over the ocean, and oftentimes they've seen the UFOs in the water, glowing
Right.
at night under the water. And a lot of people believe, as you guys are well aware, that there's bases at different points in the ocean. It's like a natural place to hide if you didn't really want to be observed.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, USO was it USOs underwater submersible objects or
Object, yeah.
unidentified submersible objects.
Yeah.
So Christine says, wouldn't they be going faster? I don't. I believe they wanted to be seen, and that's how they're doing
Absolutely.
it. Slow disclosure.
Yeah. My teacher
So-
said, if you see a ghost, if you see a spaceship, it's because you wanted to see it. And so
Well,
they said,
and
hey,
also
here we are.
They want us to see it. What were you
Yeah.
saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I think I've told this before in a different show, but I had a UFO sighting. I've had many in my life, but like a very vivid one where I wasn't trying. I was just at the local high school walking my dog at about 7 at night, and it was like dusk. It wasn't quite summer yet, so the sun was setting, and it was getting dark. And my dog ran across the field, and he didn't listen. He's a wonderful dog, but he gets so excited he just kind of goes. So I had to run out, and I'm over by the baseball field and the tennis courts of the high school, and he starts to go to the bathroom. So I'm like waiting for him to do his business. I'm going to pick it up with my bag, and all of a sudden, I like out of the corner of my eye see movement in the sky. It's clear night, no clouds, and at about 1,000 feet tops. Maybe it was 500 feet, maybe it was 800 feet. There's movement. I look over, and a literally like decloaks right out of like Star Trek or something, a triangular craft that has white lights on the corners that are glowing up within the craft itself. No sound, no rivets, like it's like human made. This is just like one solid metallic other than the white lights within. And as it's going, now I've seen stuff my whole life. So at first I was like, oh my gosh, I like couldn't believe how low it was and how slow it was going, and there was absolutely no sound when it was hovering and going along. And so as I'm watching this for 3 to 5 seconds, long enough to be like, it's there, like not just a quick moment thing.
Yeah.
It disappeared. And so I thought like it was gone. And so I'm sitting there processing, oh my gosh, that's so crazy. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I saw that. I'm getting really excited about the whole thing. Glance back over, it had like they hit the cloak button. It literally went from being there to gone to all of a sudden 2-3 seconds later it was on the same exact trajectory, and it uncloaked again and just kept going quietly across the night over the neighborhoods, and then it was gone.
Wow.
And so when I saw that, I was like, they literally let me see them, wanted me to see them, and they pushed the cloak button to show me we don't have to go fast to go away. We can just hit. You wouldn't see us anyway, because I think they're higher dimensional. I think they literally can phase in and out of our reality, the way these higher dimensional crafts are. And so this was when I first started going up to ECETI, and so I ended up talking with people up there and talking with James and did tippling, and it kind of confirmed what I already knew. It was some of my guides from the higher realms, aspects of me coming down to help with my own awakening. They let me see them in their craft.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
they were like Andromedan and Arcturians.
That's really
and so
cool.
I knew the name, and later I had a dream where like I was on the ship with them. so anyway, when people are like, oh, they can't go that slow, like, yes, they can. They can hover their distance. You never hear them if they didn't want them to.
Yeah.
I think we have stuff all over the planet at night that are just hovering in position.
They do. Yeah, I mean, you can watch the clouds. I mean, you know exactly where they are in those clouds. You can see, you can feel the energy, you can see the shape shifting, and they'll hover there for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, the cloud just dissipates.
Yeah.
See you later.
So here's one more I want to share, and I feel, this is ours. I feel, but this is a drone, and I feel that this is our future with cars. The gravitational cars or helicopter cars. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is our future right here. So I'm gonna play this. They're car size. I thought this was cool.
Okay, I'm videoing this, and this is one of those drones that everybody's talking about. Right there. And at first I thought it was the ghetto bird, but it's not. And it's loud. Oh my god, here we go. Here it is. What is that? Okay, I'm videoing
That's
this.
not even a helicopter type car.
And this
That's
is one of those drones
like a little
that everybody's
plane.
talking about. Right there. And at first I thought it was the ghetto bird, but it's not. And it's loud. Oh my god, here we go. Here it is. What is that?
Amazing.
On that on that site of the U.S. Army, they were showing one of the. It wasn't a drone; it was an actual helicopter. Comes out of the mud, and all of a sudden it takes off up with the wheels and everything. It was so cool. That is a fabulous sight. I had no clue until I got. I'm glad my neighbor sent it to me.
Yeah. I mean, they're already making helicopter, cars, one seated helicopter cars. They're approved by the FAA. There's wait, let me this is cool.
Didn't you predict that?
Yes.
You predicted that when we were talking about, it was like January, New Year's Day or something like that. With your prediction, you predicted they would be online this year.
I did.
Mm-hmm.
So this is let me show this. This is cool.
Mm-hmm.
What's the new Tesla?
It's an Aleph.
That's right out of Star Wars.
I know.
When Luke is going across, the planet there, and he's riding in the thing, hovering like 3 feet off the ground.
Yeah.
$300,000. Deliveries are expected to begin in 2025. We're here.
Wow.
See,
Well,
Tessa.
Yeah. Am I still sharing?
It's happening.
It is, isn't it? It's happening. We are there.
Well, I feel like a lot of this stuff, like said in your prediction and the predictions in January, people were saying like March, April, and it still feels like from what I'm seeing, there's lots of big stuff happening. I know this, Thursday night, Friday morning it's the worm moon, but it's the blood moon because there's the shadow of the earth. The eclipse is going to be on the moon. Lot of folks think some big stuff happening this week. It's already a lot of stuff going on, and
There is a
I
lot
think
of
between
stuff going on.
leading up to April and Easter, I think I think a lot's going to happen between now and then, and then it's just going to keep happening, keep unfolding more and
Right.
more and more.
Earth Day, the 22nd, the first Earth Day is when they laid the first cornerstone to bring it up to another level, to bring it up to another, from the fourth dimension up. There's, like I said, there's 3 corners laid.
Mm.
And then I asked when they were going to lay the 4th, and they go, well, soon, whenever we want to.
Soon, there's that word soon. What do you mean cornerstone? I'm not
When
following.
they bring it up into another dimension.
Okay.
And they tried it before. It didn't work. We had the Ice Age for a million years.
Resets. Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't work. So they kind of, they say, well, if it doesn't work, it's no big deal. It's plan B. Okay.
And C and D and E.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. As Ramtha says, indeed. So, soon, but that's what they all say. And soon to me is next week. Soon to them is a million years.
Yeah. Or could be. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. It's not going to be a million years.
No, we're here. We're here. So that's why we're here.
I feel this is, I've said this before, I feel like, and we've talked about this, Sharon, and I think Diane in past ones, I personally have memories of that have come back to me now of in between lives, planning this life, major events that were going to happen in my life. Many of them have played out. But I feel like in a weird way, time is weird, and it's like you can go all the way through. I feel like I've lived a few different attempts at this level, if you will, if there's like a video game analogy. Yeah. We've tried this a few different times, and like I feel like we've never gotten to this point where we, like, metaphorically speaking, have all of our lives, have grabbed all the special things, collected the coins, got the stuff. Like, we're in the best position ever now, and things are aligning for, like, I think much closer to the ultimate plan of humanity waking up to the galactic community, becoming more heart-centered, having the veil lifted of all of the distortion and manipulation that have happened for so long in so many different ways, and changing those programs and institutions, and really just humanity also taking personal accountability for ourselves. Certainly a lot of people are already doing that, but a lot of people are kind of asleep in the matrix and just flailing. And it's hard to see that, but there's that point where, like, we're here to help everyone, and then, like, I feel like, make a positive change and help this planet, ascend back to being in divine harmony and alignment with the creation, the highest and best. But I also think, like, we can't do it for everybody else. And so everyone is going to experience this at the level they're at. And we certainly want to help people. But like I said, I even have family members that haven't woken up. And trust me, I'm a pretty good sales guy. And I have tried coming at it 100 different ways. But one of the lessons I think I had to learn is, James Gilliland says this a lot, you can't water a seedling with a fire hose. Because you'll just drown it.
Yeah.
And so everybody's at where they're at. And I believe the three of us and many of the people probably watching are being guided to this, relatively speaking, are old souls. we've lived many lifetimes in many places, and to a certain degree, we're all masters to a certain
Right.
degree.
And
Yeah.
we
So-
just we're very stubborn, so we're not giving up. We just keep coming back. I know I am, and I know a lot of people are. We're like, okay, that didn't work, so I'm going back.
Well, I've gotten to the end. I feel like I've gotten to the end before, and they're like, "Well, did you have fun? Did this?" I'm like, "We didn't do what we were
didn't-
trying to do." And they were like, "Well,
We
you can
didn't
leave. You can go
finish.
do this." I feel like I had an opportunity, like, to basically go to heaven, where I could do whatever I want. And I was like, "We didn't finish.
We didn't
We
finish,
didn't.
right?
We didn't. Like, this isn't what we were working for." It was very
You
like
know?
anticlimactic. They're like, "No, you're done. You're good. Everything's good." I'm like, "No, it's not." And all of a sudden, I'm back here again. But it's going a little bit better this time. So apparently, I wasn't the only one who wasn't going to throw in the towel.
No,
You know,
No.
I asked that some of those questions that you were talking about. And he said every 2,000 years they come along and try to lift us up. And I said, well, what did we do for the last 2,000? Because we're talking about the first one with Jesus, the Christ energy.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, what did we do from then to now? And he goes, floundered. That's your answer, Andy. We
Yeah.
floundered.
you know.
Collectively, humanity did.
Well,
Yeah.
I have to think
Yeah.
about the yugas. You know, the different
Right.
yugas of, with the I can't even think of it now.
Well, we're in the Kali Yuga.
Yeah, we're at the end of it though. So the
Mhm.
Kali Yuga, and they last thousands of years, and Kali Yuga is the longest one. And
Yep.
so let me pull up the yugas
Yeah.
because that. So it's not
That's
like
remember I told you that's what my mom tried to grill in me when I was a kid? Yeah, okay, whatever.
Hindu. That's it. Hindu mythology.
Yeah.
And it's not a myth. I believe I love their philosophy because it makes
Oh
so much
no,
sense.
it's really true. But the thing is that Shraddha really needs to talk to us about this one. That was the one reason I wanted her to come to that one class. I'd really like to talk to her about it.
Well, the night that she was here and she got cut off, they had a landslide.
Oh my
and
God.
That's that landslide?
The internet was out for 3 days. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what landslide, but
Oh
so-
yeah, I read there was a landslide. There was it was an avalanche.
Avalanche. Wow. So the first one is the one we're moving into now is the Satya Yuga, which is the golden age, and that's the first yuga, and that lasts up to 100,000 years. I've seen more, but there's no war, famine, or conflict among the human race. It's a time of complete peace on earth. So we're moving into that. That's where we started, from what I understand, or what it says. In the Satya Yuga, human beings were adept in meditation and possessed unbelievable strength and longevity. And this is according to the Vedic text. And so the golden age lived up to 100,000 years. And then we moved into the silver age, where we started engaging in nonviolent religious sacrifice. Nonviolent religious sacrifice. Oh, maybe it was as a means of
or no cows. Cows are
Okay.
revered.
propitiating, appeasing the gods, and ultimately pleasing the supreme person, Vishnu. And so, we fall in frequency a little bit, and then we move into and that lasts, how many years does that last? I think it lasts longer. The Treta Yuga, they lived lifespans up to 10,000 years. But I think it's a longer yuga. It doesn't say. And then they Dvapara Yuga, which is even worse, where we get or the Bronze Age in Greek mythology, where we live up to 1,000 years. So actually, our age is cut off too.
Mm-hmm.
and it gets worse. We get worse. And then Kali, where we don't live very long. We're lucky if we live to be 100. Our lifespan is only 100, so we go from thousands of years down to 10,000 to 1,000 to 100.
Hi, Bob.
Have either of you ladies in your experiences and connections connected within, because I know we talk a lot about Christ and the angels, and have you guys, and I know I've talked about it before, Sharon, but have you guys connected with any of the Hindu gods or any of the Hindu? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd have to
I had
think
many
back.
lifetimes in that area, in the Indian area.
Mhm.
And my sannyas name is Devadasi Pravati, servant of God, daughter of the mountain. Devadasi is one of my incarnates in that area. And I have been, like, we went to Hawaii on Kauai, and Kauai has a huge Buddhist Hindu temple, and they were and my teacher is El Moye, that's one of his incarnates. And
Mhm.
so
I worked with him.
yeah, he is, and Vishnu, and I think it's Vishnu is Ramtha or Mafu, I can't remember which one. But to be there with this meditation group, we did a huge home fire outside, and it was magnificent. And then in the temple itself, we had a wonderful meditation, and I mean, it was just fabulous. But yeah,
But we were. Go ahead, Andy.
I was going to say, when you said El Morra, I've come across him as one of the Ascended Masters before.
yeah,
And I was told, or I don't know where I heard this, if I just, I don't remember exactly where this came from, but I was told that Thomas Jefferson was an incarnate of El Morra.
I don't know that. I
Okay.
don't know that, but every person that's on the money, they are ascended.
Well, George Washington was an aspect of Archangel Michael. I know that because I saw through those eyes.
George
Yeah, I
Washington.
don't know that.
Yeah, George Washington. Yeah.
George Washington, I got him in an orb, his face in an orb. I prayed to him. I prayed to the founding
Saint
fathers.
Germain?
Yeah, he's Saint Germain. He's also Abe Lincoln.
Well, yeah, and Michael too. I feel that
A lot of them put their energies in to like charge these special people in history with everything they need to be successful, right?
Well, here's the other thing. He is father number 2 who created the angels. He, with Gaia, created these angels, only they were the fallen race who ended up in Atlantis. And that's how that happened. But that's Saint Germain. He was Uranus.
Hello, Ziptar.
Hi, Ziptar.
That sounded funny.
How about you, Sharon? Have you connected with?
I have, but it's been a while. I used to channel a lot of Ascended Masters, and Paramahansa Yogananda I've connected with many times.
That's my teacher.
I love him so much. Just saying his name, I feel it. I feel him. And I know I have, but I just can't think of who they are now. Yeah.
My dad, who's awakening, I'll just say that. I had an experience where behind my dad, I saw Babaji.
Yeah, it's another aspect of my teacher.
Babaji. And then I went into a whole, me and you did a one-on-one show, Sharon, where I explained my experience with Lord Shiva when I went out of body.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons I put cosmic, because this was like a cosmic experience. And Lord Shiva was first healed me because I thought I was dying. And then secondarily, was taking me through the dimensions and teaching me lessons about our universe, about the sun, about portals, about everything. And at the very end, I'll go very quick. At the very end, I'm hovering in my astral body above planet Earth, looking out into space. And when he initially came to me, he was like 3,000 miles across, this giant being. And just like the pictures of Shiva, you see where he's sitting cross-legged and he's got the snake around his neck, and there's the trident, and he's got his hair, and he's on like a lion skin. Like, that's what it looked like out in space, and him looking at me. And these eyes were looking at me. I didn't know who it was. This is a time I hadn't awakened yet at all, and I didn't know anything about the Hindu gods, let alone most of the Christian stuff. My family was non-religious growing up. And so when this experience happened, I get to the very end of a very long experience, and I'm looking at this being, and it just taught me all these things and showed me all these things. And I go, who are you? Are you God? Who are you? Are you God? And his response, without saying any words, was for my perspective as Andy to all of a sudden be him looking out his eyes back down at my soul hovering above planet Earth. And then we switched back. So he never said a word, and I literally got, I'm you and you're me. That was the final message. And so this was before the internet. It was like 25 years ago, before the internet was very good. And I spent 3 days trying to type in blue glowing God in space, only to come across the picture of Lord Shiva and be like, that's him. That's a real person. That's a real being. That's who saved me and taught me. So anyway, anytime the Hindu stuff comes up, I'm always interested, because I was like, I have an aspect of Lord Shiva apparently that I'm connected to. So
that is so nice. I love that story.
Yeah,
I would love for you to tell that story on my other podcast. We have to talk.
Yeah, I can do the long version. We can fill up an hour and a half.
Yeah, totally. I want to do that. It'll be on here though. That's so cool. In the Law of One, if anyone has read the Law of One, talks about the different ages too, and what we're dealing with, and that one of the ages recently, maybe the one before this one, we didn't make it, like you were talking about. We didn't make the cut. We didn't raise up in frequency enough, and so the people that did decided to stay behind and help those that couldn't make it.
Mm-hmm.
Just like what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Floundering.
This is jumping subjects a little bit, but recently what I've had a whole bunch of synchronicities come back up, and we've talked about this before, but the King Arthur and the Round Table and Excalibur, and that just keeps coming. Merlin was like a week and a half ago, I was dreaming. I'm pretty sure Merlin was at the foot of my bed.
Saint Germain.
Yeah.
I know that
Is
one.
that Saint Germain?
Yeah.
Okay.
Merlin?
Yeah.
I just had a session today where Merlin came through. That's so funny.
That's a synchronicity. Well, it's funny. Saint Germain, I know he's like leading, one of like a key role in the Ascended Masters that are all kind of working behind the scenes. And I know him and his purple flame, which I've worked with a lot, like transmuting a lot of really heavy and dense emotional energy and baggage within my own personal self, but also my family's DNA bloodlines on both sides, given traumas that are stored in the bloodlines that needed to be healed, that apparently I signed up to be the one to help heal it for the whole damn all my ancestors, apparently. And I think a lot of us are playing roles where it's not just us, we're helping heal other things too. Right. And I have a very vivid memory. And when I saw Saint Germain, he was in a purple robe and he looked like Obi-Wan Kenobi from Star Wars.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you know. At the beginning, when Obi-Wan's with the beard
Yeah.
and he's in the mountains and the thing, it was that could have been Saint Germain, except for he was in purple, and the fire that was in front of him was a purple flame. Other than that, it looks exactly like Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Star Wars, George Lucas's Star Wars, not
Yes.
the Disney one.
Yeah.
That was created when Joseph Campbell was living with him, and Joseph Campbell ascended, but he didn't ascend his body because he was a smoker and had cancer, and if he ascended his body, he would have not ascended. So he chose to leave his body and do a spiritual ascension, which means he has to come back and get somebody's body to ascend it. But
He has to be a body snatcher.
kind of, yeah. Yeah, there was a film when I was a kid, and it was just so scary, called Body Snatchers.
Yeah, I know.
They've made remakes of that, but the first one was just the scariest thing. And as I grew up, I started having these dreams, and I realized what that was.
What?
It's just you taking a body.
Mm-hmm.
You're coming out of the womb.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I get it. But when I first saw that, I was just so scary,
Well, it makes me think of the secret space program and, switching bodies and that type of thing. When the body gets harmed too badly or damaged too badly, they switch bodies.
Such as JFK.
They have clones.
There's clones.
Yeah, they told me 20-something years ago, before I even knew anything about secret space programs or extraterrestrials. They were having conversations with me, the gray beans. Told me they had clones. They made clones of me, and they had my DNA on a shelf. I'm like, oh, well, they just said it to me matter of factly, and it was so matter of fact during our conversation. And I was
so how'd you feel about that? I mean, seriously,
it was matter of fact.
What'd you think?
I didn't think anything.
It was like, yeah, okay.
It was matter of fact, because I was in a different space when we were having those conversations. I was in like a trance state, and so it wasn't anything out of the ordinary. I didn't understand it like I do now.
I'm O negative too.
Yeah, me too.
So is my dad. And so is my brother.
You're O positive? Yeah, I said O. Yeah.
Yeah. But I have a talking about that kind of stuff. When I tap into my secret space program and those type of memories, there's some really kind of uncomfortable things that I've seen. And one of them is to walk around the corner and see your clone standing there. And you're like, do I like this guy or do I not like this guy? Is this actually me or is this not actually me? And I told you this story where I had like some guides took me up to a higher level, and it was almost like, are you going to be a good guy or a bad guy? Because I had duality within me. And I think this goes back to Orion lifetimes that I was healing. And I had like basically a fight to the death with the Jedi Knight white light divine aspect of me, fighting the negative, wearing all black, angry, like unhealed version of me. And we literally had like a UFC fight to see who was going to win. And I woke up, this happened probably 7 years ago. And I woke up the morning after this, one of those vivid dreams. When you wake up, it's so real. When you wake up, you're like, oh my God, something just happened. I woke up with bruises on my body. And I don't know if you've ever actually been in a serious fight for your life fight. I had squeezed my hand so hard during the tussling and stuff, like I couldn't bend my hands for 3 days. My arms, whatever happened, I know my body was sleeping in bed, but my energy when it came back down from being up there, like it was like I had actually fought someone to the death.
Wow, you really took that on.
Yeah. But I won.
Okay, yeah, so I was just gonna say, okay. You
Thankfully,
must
the
have
good
won
won.
because you came back.
I did. The good guys won. Go, good guys. Go team.
I know, right? Yeah, that's what we want, definitely. I've seen my clone too, a couple of times. I don't know which one. I mean, I don't know if they're the same clone, but I haven't. I think I've seen her, a clone of myself, more than once, and I didn't realize that she was my clone. You know what I mean? As we're talking, I'm thinking that was probably a clone.
But there's like that 4D, 5D, like astro plane, like where a lot of like secret space program stuff happens. Then
Yeah.
there's the true higher dimensional stuff when you're with your benevolent guides up on the shoot, like your soul group or your that kind of stuff, where I've seen there's an aspect of me that's like a Syrian warrior being that's like 16-foot tall feline that's in a stasis chamber because
Right.
he's almost like the movie Avatar. He's going into this thing at night, projected his consciousness down into me. And I have being like other aspects of me, let alone like you all do too. I'm just saying, but like I have like an angel, a seraphim that I work with that basically like projects their energy down around me.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes when I'm like walking around, I know that I've got a pretty big like group with me that are aspects of me, like I said, in other realms, that I'm drawing on all of those experiences for this life as Cosmic Andy down on Earth. And some of those different beings have, and different aspects of me have different abilities. One is a healer, the transmuter. One's more of a warrior. One's more like the computer, the logical side. One's a feminine. There's a female warrior from Lemuria that was like very high ranking that is part of me, because I've had these moments where I connect to her and I'm like, I hate to say this. This is my own 2 cents, so take this for what it's worth, and don't want to offend anyone. I don't care if people are gay or lesbian or any of that kind of stuff, or straight. Like, you be you. Who the heck cares, right? Like, it's your experience. Like,
Good
I
on.
love them all. That said, I feel like some of the transgender stuff is where people have gotten confused because they're tapping into aspects of themselves. Like, I'm in a male and I'm tapping into this female energy and I feel female. And so I wonder if there's I know there's distortion. I know there's different chemicals in the water and all kinds of things that are changing things. But I often have wondered, because when I've tapped into this female aspect of myself before, I was like, I'm a boy, but why am I feeling like more feminine energy? So anyway, I don't know if anyone else, like when you've tapped into your male guides, you don't think all of a sudden you're a man, but I don't know. I've been playing with that one in my head for a while. I'm not trying to offend anyone, but I just wonder if people kind of get confused internally sometimes. Obviously, be who you want to be, but
it's better to be who you want to be rather than to be someone you don't want to be.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's no fun. That'll drive you crazy. A lot of people do that. Yeah. I mean, all jokes aside, it can drive you crazy. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I can relate to that. I'm definitely, when you bringing in different parts of you, the warrior me sometimes just wants to, when I feel that, and I know it's because I'm drawing on the warrior soldier part of me when something, really pisses me off, and I'm like, the justice part of me, and I have this urge to fix something, especially with human trafficking with children, that kind of thing, protecting children. That's a big deal with me. And so, and I want to, because I have memories of, with the space programs, of rescuing children. So, yeah. So I can definitely relate to what you're saying, and drawing in those parts of ourselves. Mm-hmm. When did Stephanie start, Christine? Bringing in the O-negs?
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome.
Most of my family.
Yeah. The O's are in the house. It's Right? Funny. You do know that our DNA is probably top currency. DNA period is currency. Our human DNA is currency in this star system, in the galaxy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Especially if you're the turquoise family. You're all about lineage. If you've, you know,
You talking about the Jesus, David
Yeah.
line?
yeah.
Yeah. Magdalene line, all that. Yeah. Yeah. It's
Yeah, and Magdalene this lifetime is a gay guy. Just saying.
Mhm.
Seriously.
I'm not sure that I believe that one person is a reincarnation of an ascended master. I believe that that is something that is spread out, because I don't believe that someone can hold the energy of an ascended master only in their body. That's just my take on it.
The way I remember some of this interdimensional is in between lives, my guides were taking me to different, almost like schools you would go to train and to learn, so that in your next incarnation you could take these skills or abilities or energies with you. And I know that, like, there's many people that have, men and women, that have been encoded with Archangel Michael's energy because they went to his school and kind of went through the rituals and got his blessing. And I remember doing that.
Yeah.
And I've come across many other people that even when I meet them, I know that they have it. It's like a sixth sense. I've never met you in this life, but I can look at you. I feel your energy. I know what you look like. I could just know that you've been through the same thing. And that has happened with a few different things, not just ascended masters. I also think the ascended masters do that, the angelics do that, and then some of the different soul groups do that, in terms of, like, um, you know the Pleiadians might have healing, or a lot of the best musicians, let's just say it, went to the Pleiadian school of, like, loving sound vibration,
Of music,
right?
yeah,
Like,
totally. Yeah.
and a lot of the high tech engineers went to the Arcturian
Arcturian.
school of creation, and you know what I mean. Like, there's no coincidences, and so yeah, I don't know if there's if they have, like I've been encoded with Archangel Michael's energy. I know he's with me. I remember times out of body where he almost came in and took over, and his energy was so strong. I remember I just, like, my ear hurt, almost like I had an earache, because he had so much energy running in me. And frankly, I probably had my own imperfections or whatever. And, like, it was just causing me pain when that energy was flowing through me. And he wasn't trying to, but he needed to come in for where I was at and what was happening at that time. And, but I've often wondered, is there people that are more encoded? If I'm quote unquote 10% coded with Michael's energy, is there somebody with 50% or 70, even more than me? Or is it just like, I went to that school and I got this badge, and so, like like a scout, like I got my badge and I earned my
Right.
Archangel Michael stuff? I don't really know. It would be interesting to know. But coming full circle, I've heard, and we talked about this before, that Trump, among other things, I've seen, like, Archangel Uriel behind him, and I've even been told that Archangel Uriel is one of the people playing Trump.
I think he's an avatar.
Yeah. As far as Mary Magdalene goes, 20-something years ago, I had my visions, during my meditations, when Christ took me through that, where I was seeing him through Mary Magdalene's eyes. And I'm like, there's no way I can be in reincarnation. And it was so funny, because then people started coming around that also remembered walking with Christ in the body of Mary Magdalene. And that's when he helped me understand that it's not one, her energy is just so huge that it's not one body that is here to carry her energy. It's many bodies that are carrying her energy, that, and we can all tap into these energies anyway. But her line is on the planet. Their line is on the planet to help bring in the coming age, the golden age. And so that's how I understand it, that it's not just one person.
I understand what you're saying, but this was from an ascended master. But this gay guy has turned his back on his teachings, which is really bad. I mean, if you think about it, when you turn your back on your own teachings, it's horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, what a lesson that is.
For
I have a lot of friends who've done that. They've turned their backs on their own teachings.
It's hard being on Earth, and there's a lot of distortion and different things that happen. And I from past experience, I think it's easy to lose your way, and so I keep being more and more grateful that I've made it to this point, having my quote unquote wits about me, and
Yeah.
and I'm getting to
not
talk
going
with
totally insane.
you. Yeah. And so
You know,
I'm grateful.
when it comes to Trump, I can't remember if I shared this, but I never felt any way about him one way or another when he ran for president in Merlin. Yeah, Michelle, that's
No, Trump
came
is
up
not
in her session. Merlin, yeah,
Merlin is Saint Germain.
where he I never cared about him one way or another, and so in 2017 during the Great American Eclipse, I was outside in my backyard, sitting out there for the eclipse by myself, and all of a sudden I almost got knocked down, and I had this huge download, and it was about Trump. As soon as the it was the solar eclipse, as soon as the moon went over the sun and it got dark, I got all this information about him, and it didn't say. It said he was a catalyst, and he isn't what we think he, because there was a lot of bad stuff, that they were talking about him then and putting him in a bad light, and that it wasn't what we thought, what they were putting out there about him. They didn't say good or bad. Actually, what they told me was to do my research, right? Not believe what was out there, and that he was definitely a catalyst to put things in balance and bring in the feminine, because we were so out of balance. And with the moon crossing over the sun, that was the feminine and the masculine, helping to bring that into feminine. It was just huge download. And so I did research on it, and I realized that the mainstream media was lying about him like crazy. And also I saw videos of Biden and what a predator he was when it came to kids, and being
One.
With my history as a kid, I'm like, oh my gosh, okay. And that's when I started realizing, and I had conversations with my guides about it and stuff like that. And I started waking up.
Well, I know you, Andy, you had
that part of it anyway, because I was never political. Sorry, Diane. I always,
that's okay. I understand what you're saying.
And but I did vote Democrat up till then. I did vote Democrat. I voted for Obama twice. I liked Clinton, but it was like,
well, you had a great awakening.
Yes, we did.
My Yeshua called it 20 years ago. He said, get ready for it. And that's why he was training me for this time right here. He called it the grand plan, though. He didn't call it the Great Awakening. That's how I heard the grand plan. But yeah, go ahead, Diane. Sorry.
Well, that's interesting because Andy had a dream and I had a dream. I had a dream that I was married to him in another life. And I have a girlfriend that she was married to him in another life as well. And it was the dream was so long ago, and I didn't write it down, which is crazy because the problem is that I don't know who he was in that lifetime, but and I'm sorry that I didn't, because I can't remember how great he was or how little I was. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, dreams are very rarely.
Obviously, I wasn't that great because I'm here again.
You can look at it the other way. You're here because they needed some high-powered people down there to get it right this time, right?
Yeah, we're here by choice because what I feel is we wanted to be here. We needed to be here. We wanted to be here. We wanted to be here during this time because this is huge. As we've been saying, we've been trying to do this for a very long time.
Floundering for 2,000 years.
I don't know if it's floundering is
what he said.
Just
well, what did we do for 2,000 years? You floundered. And he never said anything after that. I went, okay, I did it.
I don't know about floundering.
We were bouncing from incarnation to incarnation, trying to get that right, trying to learn our lessons, by pulling ourselves and maybe somebody else with us, dragging them around. And I think that's what he meant. Yeah, I think that's what he meant by floundering.
Well, yeah. Yeah, that's true, Zeftar. It's same part of the same reptilian system, really. Trump, love him or hate him, functions outside that system. It's time for us to take back our power. Very true. And I believe that's why he's here. He and Musk are here to do that. And those protesters and everything like that are being paid to do that. Shifting into the new earth. Yeah. Christine says, I was once told that I don't want to be here, and I volunteered because I was asked to. Oh, well, I'm glad you're here. Yes.
Thank goodness, yeah. Christine.
So, I mentioned earlier that I remember in between lives, and I remember my last life ending, and I thought I died, and then I was in this other realm. There was no, it was heavenly, but there wasn't like harps and angels. It was just kind of almost like a void. And I was just walking around, and I started realizing there was these other beings. And so I kind of was just observing what was going on. And there was these super tall beings. I believe that they were Andromedans. And I walked up to one of them, and that's when all my memories started to come back about who I was and what had been going on. And they essentially, I was told, I didn't have to go back if I don't want to, but it was made very clear that we're getting it right this time. Almost like reinforcements had been called in so high up the chain of command within Source's creation that there was no way we weren't going to get it this time.
Yeah.
And that he goes, you don't have to go back if you don't want to. But I believe this is one of my guys that he goes, but you won't want to miss this for the world. And I was like, they're like, well, let's at least have a good one this time. And like, I'd had so many lifetimes where like people had been killed, children died in childbirth. There was wars, there was famines. I was like, can I just have like a nice life? And maybe I should have been more specific.
That's what
I know.
Can it like not end in like
class? Sharon did several classes of, past lives, getting in touch. I got in touch with one that was really great. And I said to Sharon, this is the first really good life I've had in forever. All the other ones, I was either killed, maimed, drunk, some asshole that was just awful. Where I maimed, maybe no arms, one arm. It was just, and I was so happy. I was showed that life can be good.
Do you remember getting burned at the stake? I do.
Yeah. I have a thing about my neck.
You know how in the movies when they show the people getting burned at the stake, like the witches or whoever, they just kind of stand there? And I'm always like, why don't they speak their piece now? And I was so articulate with like, before them lighting the fire, I was arguing and explaining so much about how the people who were burning us were actually the bad guys and that they'd been lying to everyone and they weren't really doing what they said, that people in the audience watching started kind of look at each other like, I think he's telling the truth. And then they were like, fuck, hurry up, get him burned. And then I remember as I burned, it hurt for just a sec, and I stood there, and my soul was so angry that had happened. I kind of just hung around for a while. Like my guides came to get me, and like one of those discarnate souls that wasn't ready to go back up and to be healed. Because I was like, you motherfuckers, you let this happen to me again? I was so mad at them. I cannot tell you. I have MF'd my guides so many times with their finger. And then they kind of like think it's funny. They're like, it's okay, you'll be fine. You're fine. Tougher than you know.
Yeah.
And then I'm back again.
I do remember burned. I did see a vision of being. I write about it in my book, being burned at the stake, and but I don't have the memory of actually being burned. But I'm up above it, and I'm watching it from above, and I see the one who made it happen walking back and forth. It was very eerie, and he's walking back and forth. He has this big hat on and a long black coat. And I knew it was in Germany. And I knew he killed me. He had me burned because he hated me.
Yeah.
And I could just feel he was just so happy that I was being burned. And it was, but yeah. I knew it was in Germany.
Yeah.
But I wasn't mad at anybody in that one. I was just watching him. I think that was it. Yeah. It was crazy.
Yeah, so I'm very grateful that I'm living a very blessed life right now, and I know a lot of people are having challenges, but I'm like, I think the reason I remember so many of the negative lifetimes is because like I had to clear stuff, or I had to do stuff, or working through my own karma. Because I do remember quite a bit of lifetimes that I had in Scandinavia as a giant Viking, and I just killed people for the fun of it. I remember doing that.
That's where you have your.
I remember being a Viking.
That's
right.
I remember, raiding villages and taking over and doing some pretty bad stuff. And then it was like every other lifetime for a while, where I was this giant warrior that like could do. I remember being a king in Norway. I haven't gone to Scandinavia, but I know I'm going to get there. I'm going to be like, that's where I lived. I had 3 wives. I remember the whole thing. And it was great. It was great for me at that time. The very next lifetime after that I remember going to, I'm in the Middle East, and I'm basically a slave girl born into slavery. And my entire life, I'm like a prostitute, and I have multiple kids that are taken from me or die in childhood. And then I died at 35, and the whole entire lifetime was basically suffering and servitude. And I was so mad about like, how did you let this happen to me? And then my guides pulled me up and they showed me what I had done to women when I was in the unhealed masculine role. And now I was the woman experiencing the woman who was being oppressed. Blah, blah, blah. And I had both sides of the experience that my soul learned from that.
Right. Yeah.
That's usually what happens.
Yeah.
They were saying that my teacher said that most massage therapists are giving back to humanity for what they have taken, which I thought was interesting. He didn't say all, he said most.
Interesting.
Uh-huh.
I know I can't remember if I read it in a book or if Yeshua told me. I think I read it in a book, and he also told me that people on the other side also pay back karma on the other side. Be in service to someone that they may have wronged. You don't have to reincarnate to do that. But yeah, you can do that on the other side too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, they say it's tougher to do it on the other side than it is here.
Mm-hmm. It's easier here.
That's what that's what my teacher said. It's tougher to learn it on the other side if you haven't learned it here.
Yeah, I don't know about learning. I think it's just the experience is what we I think that we need a balance is what it does, is balance it out, because that's what the universe is all about. I don't know. Learn about it, but it might, yeah.
That's
Stephanie-
when we came to this planet as Lemurians and the Atlanteans came. Lemurians before that took on that part that was placed in Middle Earth, Id and Lucifer, to bring him back to the light because of the war in the heavens. And that was the first time they had experienced envy, greed, and jealousy, was when Lucifer and Id went crazy and destroyed all the planets. And so because he was such a wonderful being and that we had created him, we loved him so much that it was decided that we would bring that part of him into the light instead of destroying him. And he annihilated a lot of people. And that's what the whole thing is today. When we ascend, we bring that darkness in ourselves to the light, because that darkness is that part that we took on consciously.
Yeah, we transmute it. Yeah.
Yes.
But I know what we were talking about earlier is that we wouldn't be here if we weren't going to make it this time, probably. Because I know that for my NDE, that Christ, he wouldn't tell me I need to come back if we weren't going to make it this time. He would have let me stay, because he knows that I would have been very upset if he would have let me stay, and we would have made it through the shift this time, and I wasn't here. After all the lifetimes I've been here, trudging through all this, and then you let me stay when we finally made it. Yeah. When I wanted to be on Earth for this, it's like, being at the Super Bowl, and you sit out the game at the very end.
Yeah.
Very last end of the game. Yeah, so that's not going to happen. So I know we're going to make it. Stephanie, did you have a question here? I'm confused about this. Is that what Sharon was talking about when she said we volunteered, we wanted to be here for this important time? You're talking about shifting our vibration and the new Earth, be here for the new Earth. Yeah, you could say that. That's how I see it. Whoops. I'm going to hide that.
And I think there's, in the spiritual community, there's kind of different terms, and folks are, coming from different perspectives and trying to explain like similar mechanisms and happenings, kind of using different terminology.
And how they mean.
And so, like the new Earth, I don't think there's a completely new planet Earth we're going to go to. I think where we're at right now is going to shift, and it's going to feel like it's going to feel different, because it's going to be such a higher vibration. We're going to be mentally online, and physically we're going to feel better, and so that's, for a while there was a time I was following people talking about the new Earth, and they were like, we're all going to get in a spaceship and go to this new other Earth, and I'm like, no, I think we like shift upward kind of through that internal transmutation. But the planet Gaia Sophia, the Mother Earth herself, is going through that because of all the efforts we're doing. And actually, recently I've been working with a group regarding ley lines, the energetic ley lines on Mother Earth and the chakra points, and certain people with certain DNA or different soul encoded energy going to certain places and helping to some of these portals that have been inverted or negative, actually changing them. I've been working with a guy, Carlos, who just in the last month and a half has been to the Vatican, playing his flute and changing the frequency. He's had the angels around him. He was in Vatican City and looked over, and there was a Sasquatch standing behind the tree looking at him.
Whoa.
And then he went to the Bosnian pyramid in this kind of off season, and he literally got a special, like everywhere he went, he goes, I just went and I was just going to play my little flute and do my own meditation. Before I know it, some random person will come up to me, hey, do you want a special tour of the Bosnian pyramid? He literally got to go in the secret chamber, play his flute, felt a whole energetic shift happening. And so I think that we're all doing our part and working through our stuff and playing the role we're supposed to play. But I know there's sacred sites and sacred ley lines. And as part of the new earth and this transformation happening, I know people are going to different spots. And even if it seems like a random, my friend asked me, and I'm going to go on this trip over here. And then we ended up here, and then we were at one of the star forts. And we were, next thing you knew, we were speaking light language. And, I just keep hearing these amazing synchronicities and experiences that are unfolding for people everywhere. And I think it's part of this, the new earth. Yeah.
That's the new earth right there, is we're going back to what we used to be, what our true nature.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when we go somewhere, things just happen, where he gets a tour of the Bosnian pyramids.
It's really funny because I just read about that from a teaching from my teacher today. And that was the original. Those were the original pyramids that came through, as I think it was Lemuria 2. And what they were was, when we moved them, with our mind. There was no slave with a cart. It was to help people transmute the energy that when they were coming to this planet, that they could be in these pyramids and help them with coming into the outer earth, because the atmosphere is different. So they had to somehow figure it out. And that's why they built the pyramids. One of the reasons. There's several different chambers in there, and that's why they don't understand what all those chambers is about. But that's what part of it is.
I've heard something similar to that. I've also heard, the pyramid means fire within, and that kind of gets into our transmutation, and we have to, connect to our inner sacred divine, soul energy as a way of transmuting the external and all the things emotionally, physically stored within our body and the space around us. But I've also heard that the pyramids, when you would go and meditate within, like the King's Chamber or something in the Giza Plateau, when you're meditating in there, there's such a frequency because of the structure and the way that's built and the energy. And of course, a lot of them had the liquid mercury below that actually vibrated at a certain level under the pyramid, that caused this like torsion field effect that amplified the natural properties of the energy flow around the pyramid, so that if you were sitting in there and you were in deep meditation and you knew how to like remote view or astro travel, it amplified your astro travel, so you could literally go from the Giza pyramid to Sirius and the planets over there or Orion. And so you could project yourself in astro travel in those spots as like portal systems back and forth.
That's true, but that was also when the pituitary was connected to the pineal gland, and we had a direct connection to God.
Mm-hmm.
And when it was severed, we lost our direct connection. But yeah, Andy, I mean, it's funny. I just read that today. That you bring that up.
No coincidence. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm curious, Christine, you said something about Doreen Virtue. What were you talking about, Doreen? Because she used to be my go-to, my guru, and then she changed. But I was curious if you could type in here what you were referring to, Doreen.
I don't even see it.
Yeah, it was a while back.
Yeah, looking at it for.
So yeah, Eckhart Tolle does use the term New Earth. I think he even has a book, the old Earth vibration,
Something
shift in
about what
consciousness.
Doreen Virtue did, she said.
Okay.
I don't know what that was pertaining to.
Everyone will shift. Some will stay in this vibration. Not everyone will shift. Some will stay in this vibration. I don't think everyone can stay in an old vibration, the old earth vibration. There's not going to be an old earth vibration, is my opinion, what I get. Because the earth is shifting as well.
Oh,
So,
Christine, yeah.
so
Sorry, Sharon.
okay, so we have to shift with her, and is my understanding. And so if you can't hold the vibration, then it's going to be tough, and you will eventually leave your body and reincarnate maybe on another planet somewhere that that holds, that starts at the 3D
Yeah, I
into a
read that.
3D reality.
I read that yesterday, and what he said was they'll fall off. That was the term they were using. Not everybody,
Okay.
not everybody will shift into that. Some of them will just fall off. I don't, that was
But,
his term.
yeah, but I believe it's going to be rare. It will. What I understand is it'll be very rare for someone not to be able to stay with humanity here. But it doesn't mean that it's not going to be tough for them. Even when you leave the body, you'll still be able to move into the golden age with this this mass of humanity, because this matrix is falling. Did you hear that Elon Musk said on Joe Rogan that we are reprogramming the matrix?
Yeah, I did, and I was
He
like,
said that.
okay, hey.
He said we are reprogramming the matrix, and I'm like, yes, he gets it. So we are reprogramming the matrix. We're building a new matrix, and the matrix
He's got to be an avatar too.
I think he is.
Are we all avatars? We're all avatars.
In some of the negative timelines I experienced, he wasn't the good guy doing what he's doing now. And so I don't know if if as things got rebooted, they gave him more help, or they they took the guy out and they put, one of the Galactic Federation people in playing Elon. But I can tell you there's some negative timelines that I experienced firsthand that I remember that he wasn't the good guy he is now. And so when I saw like him by Twitter, and I saw all the different things that have been happening, and I saw him, he's up there with his kid, and I even saw in one of the interviews he talked about why, like, it was very interesting. It was almost, because sometimes I've gotten from Elon a little bit of like the Mark Zuckerberg, where he's like an android playing a human, just the way his brain is. But then I heard him say, he was talking about like the good versus evil. And like, it only makes sense to try to do good and do right by people because, we're going to be judged in the end. When I heard him say that, I'm like, somebody got to him. Not the guy who was on the other timeline I experienced. Like, he's a good guy now. And the fact that him and Trump are staying so close, even though everybody wants to pull them away, I think it's though you have your charismatic generational leader, and you have your brilliant, powerful, and connected, superhuman, and you have them on the same team. And so I feel like, amongst many, many, many others, I'm just saying, like, we really are in a very blessed timeline. And I know everyone's like, oh, don't connect to the TV or the politics, stay in your heart, do your meditation, stay in nature. And I'm like, I've been watching this dang movie go wrong so many times. I enjoy watching it go right. This is a joy for me.
It's not it's not politics. It's not politics anymore. It's watching. It's actually seeing the fruits of our labor.
Yeah.
It's seeing the fruits of our labor, because it's been a long haul. It really has. And,
yeah.
And the Matrix is fighting really hard. The Matrix is fighting back really hard. and it's a fight. We're not finished yet,
Ishtar
but
said,
yeah.
I don't want anybody to be left behind. Well, I'm going to say this. When we left and had to come to the earth because the whole universe was destroyed, we got into our ships, and not everybody got into a ship. And it was so painful
Yeah.
to leave these people behind that they put us asleep for 1,000,000 years because it was so painful. And I know what you're saying, Ziftar. That's that soul memory that you have. And on another note, did you see what Christine said? She said it was because Doreen turned her back on her own teachings.
Yeah, she demonized them and everything, and that was sad. I would have been more. I would have been happier if she said that's where I was, and I learned a lot from it, and I honor it. But this is where I am now. But she was talking about she had to repent because she felt like she was led by demons with her teachings as a metaphysical teacher, and so she's yeah, I thank you for clarifying that, Christine. Yeah, that was disappointing, but hey, everyone's on their own journey. But I did. I read pretty much all her books, and she was my guru when I first started out, and I admired her for what she did do for people that were waking up, and so and in the angelic realms and stuff like that, and everybody's on their own journey. I wanted to say something about something here. Oh, yeah, being left behind. Yeah. And also, Ziptar, no one's ever left behind because this is just a temporary experience. We're infinite, multidimensional beings. So, we're experiencing so many lifetimes all at once. And, yeah, as you remember, leaving people behind. I do too. Yes, it's a pain on our soul.
Absolutely.
During the Galactic Wars, the Orion Wars, it's a big deal.
Yeah, it was horrible.
I have memories also of different points in lifetimes, having to leave people behind or different things happening. And I guess where I feel better about the whole thing is like I've also been in between lives with my guides, and everybody was there and everybody was experiencing what they needed to experience or sign up to experience, or what they said, like, hey, I want to get rid of the karma that I have in this life that I built up in these other lives. I know this sucks down here, but it's 50 years and we're infinity. And so, yeah, it's going to be a sucky life. But the moment I'm back up there and I'm healed and I'm with God, I feel divine and I could, conquer anything. And so I guess it feels really sucky, but part of the separation game is the contrast of being united and one and unconditionally loving to feeling separated, and feeling left behind is one of the biggest ways of feeling separated. It's not only I was here with my people, I was here with my group, and now I really have been completely separated and isolated. That's really scary and hard. That said, everybody's going to come out of nobody is really left behind, right, at the higher levels. And so I do think, coming full circle on the new Earth, like, we're going to go through the shift. We already know of the 8 billion people on the planet Earth. There's people at different levels. They're older souls, the younger souls are people vibrating at different levels. That said, everybody's going to make it this time. But then once we get to that shift, I believe there may even be some people that shift a little higher to, this 5.3, timeline, and 6.2 and 7.1. You know what I mean? Like, even with the whole thing is shifting, but then there may be different trajectories we go from there based off what people need to experience or what they signed up for. And
So yeah, this matrix is falling, and when we won't be able to come back to this matrix. So wherever we decide to incarnate, whether we want to go to a different planet, different star system, we have all those choices. We'll have this big party, this big celebration as soon as we're done here. And we'll be like, okay, now what's next? Where can we go party now? Right? Where can we go and save another planet or something like that? Another species, because that's what we do. Because that's who we are.
I feel a little bit like some of us, we've been through so many different things. There's that somebody who's been in the military and has had or a high stressful job. You worked in an emergency room, right? You were, that just where it's like high stress, high intensity. You get kind of used to it. So when you go back to normal, it can kind of feel dull or not as real. And I've had a little bit in my life where, I don't know if it's just the way I'm wired in this life, where I get bored if there's not something exciting happening. And one of the reasons it's hard for me to consistently just sit in meditation, because I'd rather be out moving and doing something. And so I do a lot more walking meditations in nature versus just sitting there. Mm-hmm. But I feel like you get a little desensitized, if you know what I mean. And so I think some of us are like, yeah, I don't necessarily want to go in this crappy, hard, challenging situation. But when you're up there and everything's blissful and there's not really much to do, you're like, yeah, okay, I'll go down and do it.
Yeah. Yeah, because we come here to experience what we don't experience in the higher planes. Because it's amazing, of course, but we don't have that. We don't have that there. What we have here, which is to experience the friction, the challenge, the dichotomy of what we can experience. Yeah, and you were talking about feeling abandoned. I have this really clear memory of as a little girl, I'm outside standing on some steps of a ship, and I call him Papa, and my Papa is dropping me off, and I'm looking up at him, and he's glowing. He's all I see is white, and he's like I don't know, he's in white, wearing white, and he's glowing, and he says, and I'm telling him, don't leave me, I want to go with you. I don't want you to leave me. And he shows me, I'm not leaving. We're not leaving. And he does like that spinning. He said, we're still here. And he shows me like a ceiling fan. We're just in a higher frequency, but we're still here. You just can't see us or hear us or feel us, but we're still here. And he does that. Yeah.
So I've told this before, Sharon, when I was 5.5 years old, and me and my sister got in an argument one night. My mom put us to bed early. My sister was a year older than me, so she was 6.5. I was 5.5. We're kind of like, kids, all right, go brush your teeth, go to bed, because we were fighting, and obviously we were tired, and so we needed to go to bed. And so as I was laying there about to fall asleep, before I went to sleep, I'd gone to church, my Lutheran church, the week before with my grandparents. For like one of the first times in my life I'd ever gone to a church. And I remember thinking, like, once I got crying out of my system, which always is soothing, right? Just that emotional release of a cry. I'm in that half awake, half asleep state. And I just, the last thing I like thought out loud or questioned was like, why doesn't God talk to me? I'm a good person. I would listen. God, why don't you talk to me? So this is what I'm thinking about as I'm drifting to sleep at 5.5, right after crying my eyes out because me and my sister got in a 30-minute fight. And so you said as siblings do. And so like I had this big emotional release. I'm having these deep thoughts. I go to bed. I'm hardly asleep, and I feel a presence at the foot of my bed. And I assumed it was my mother who had walked in. I didn't open my eyes, but had walked in and like checked on the kids. Okay, the kids went to bed. I just assumed, because you can feel a presence sometimes when you're half awake, half asleep, right?
Yeah.
Well, then I realized the presence at the end of the bed isn't moving. And then I somehow was able to, like, even though I didn't sit up and open my eyes and look, I somehow, like, my astral body was able to sit up and look. And there was this being at the foot of my bed that was glowing. Couldn't see the head, couldn't see the eyes, just a glowing figure at the end of my bed. And next thing you know, I feel this like waves of energy and kind of this vibrational sound in the back of my head. Womp, 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 womp. Next thing you know, I am up on a spaceship with beings that are not human. And I'm like, who are you? Where are you? Does God know you're doing this? Like, I got really like, who are you? What are you? Just because seeing them was kind of surreal. And so I go, who are you and what do you want? And I hear, were you coming to check on you to remind you who you are? And I was like, what? And so I'm just perplexed. I have missing time then. Next thing you know, I'm on the ship in a chair, and they are showing me like right out of Star Wars or Star Trek, like a holographic star map. And they're literally showing me, this is where we're from. It like lights up. Here's the track we took. Here's the portal we went through. Here's here. And now we're here with you. And I'm like, what? And so this whole thing is surreal. But the last thing I get from this experience is like, we're always with you. We're always with you. So next thing you know, I'm consciously like wake up in my bed and I sit up and I'm just like, what just happened? It was so surreal because it's so real.
Yeah.
And again, when they said that, they answered me telepathically, and I heard my own child voice speaking the words, even though I knew I wasn't saying it. They used my voice inside my own head to communicate with me. So flash forward, I get back in my bed, or I'm back in my body. I sit up. Oh my gosh, what the heck happened? And I hear they're still telepathically connected to me. Go look out the window, Andy. I run over. I look out the window. My parents lived in North Portland, not that far from PIR, the racetrack. And so I look out my bedroom window, and there's a giant golden ship that is circular, and it kind of looks like the ship from Close Encounters of the Third Kind, where it's circular, but it has all these different lights across the top that almost look like a city skyline. So it's like circular and golden on the bottom, and then like a city skyline on the top, and it's just hovering out my window above North Portland. And
Nice.
It hovered there for about 5 seconds, and then I felt the telepathic disconnect, and then it literally shot off and just left like Tinkerbell, when she flies by and there's this golden streak across the sky that's like little fairy dust or something falling. They left this golden streak across the sky as they went, and I ran into my parents' room, and I tried to wake up my parents to tell them. Of course, it's like 3 in the morning, 3:33 in the morning. My mom is sleeping. She does the what bad dream, pull me into bed, pulls the covers over me, and gives me a hug. I'm 5.5. And I'm laying there feeling like those beings that left were my actual family, and I've been abandoned here on Earth with these people. So yeah, I've had the abandonment dream for a while now. And then it's like, how do you try to tell your parents that? Oh, you had a bad dream, and they punk back
Tell
out.
your parents you're not my family. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm laying there in my mom's arms in bed, crying my eyes out because I got abandoned on Earth. So yeah, I know about abandonment.
Yeah, it's a lot of people, star beings, I'm sure, feel that. Starseeds feel that, definitely. But we chose it. We chose it.
We
Still
did.
doesn't stop us from feeling it.
I used to have a dream all the time, even when I was a little kid, that I was raised by 2 aunts. My parents had died. And I asked my teacher why about that dream. And they said, because you had abandonment issues. And we wanted you to know that someone is with you all the time. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, all the time.
Yeah. And that this was something you needed to get over with. I said, but I had it for years. I don't know how old I was when I first started. I have no clue. I just know that I had it over and over and over. So that was it. We all have abandonment issues, I'm sure.
Well, and I think a lot of it might even start with feeling abandoned by God, whatever you want to call it, that kind of thing, source. And that might be our star family kind of thing, where we originate from. That type. Well, yeah, it's kind of the same thing, right? But because this, even though I love this planet so much, it's not home. And we've been here a long time.
Well, my home is burned up. It doesn't exist. Well, it does. It's the sun and Middle Earth. So I can't go anywhere.
You got lots of choices. You can go wherever you want.
Well, my teachers say that all the ascended masters say, Earth is a playground. When you ascend, you want to come down here. I was like, I think I emailed this to you, Sharon, a year or two ago. Jesus loves Rocky Road candy. And he was at the Vancouver Mall, and my girlfriend, who was a guru, she saw it. She says, guess who I saw at the mall eating Rocky Road? Jesus.
Well, the Jesus I know enjoys all kinds of good things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Christine, I have abandonment issues. And
yeah, you should ask him about the time he broke his toe. That's a good one.
All right. Well, it's been awesome. Awesome conversation. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, guys. And have a good full moon. Have a happy full moon coming up. Happy full moon coming up to everyone.
Yeah, with the eclipse.
It's an eclipse too? Oh, wow.
It is. It's going to be the whole blood moon or whatever it's called because of
blood
the
moon.
eclipse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. With the eclipse, I wouldn't be driving that day.
I don't have an event planned for that day. At night.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's going to bring in a wonderful shift of positive energy. So
yes,
I'm excited. So
definitely. Me too. Be a good night for meditate. Oh, I'm teaching out about a course right now, and we have a journey plan to the temple. So Christine, Ziptar, anyone, Stephanie, if you want to meet us at the temple, Andy, Diane, meet us at the temple.
I'm there all the time. I'll meet you there.
Okay, full moon. We'll be at the temple. In the astral plane, the moon temple. The moon temple. Thoth will be there too.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Stephanie, Christine, Zipcar, everyone who was here. Thank you. It
was nice meeting the new people.
Yeah. Thank you for being here. Mwah. See everyone next time. Oh yeah, Hammer.
Hammer. That's the warrior in you,
Yes.
It's that Viking Thor energy right there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys, ladies, for everything. Blessings to all. And until we meet again next time, keep transmuting and being love.
Yes.
Absolutely.